Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, Brennan, back again with another episode of What Am I Playing? And what we're playing today is Marvel's Midnight Suns. Now, a few years ago when there was rumors to be an XCOM Marvel game, I was really excited about the idea of a turn-based superhero game, as it is something different than what is the traditional superhero game formula. But with also Fraxis Games making a turn-based superhero game, the creators of XCOM, I was so excited. What's so captivating about XCOM is that it is a game where it has a lot of personality to it. You can create your own units, customize them, send them out on missions, completely, build these awesome personalized teams, and you hope they come back unscathed. Sometimes they could die, sometimes they could get wounded, and you just build this really personal bond with your units and you want them to survive. Now, I've never been able to fully commit to a playthrough of XCOM, but I've sampled and played a bunch of missions, and I love this formula. And to see that Fraxis Games was going to be tackling a Marvel property, I was so excited. I've been a comic book fan all of my life. Whether it's Marvel, DC, Image, or whoever, I love the villains and the heroes and the stories that are told between them all. It's such an endearing hobby for me, and I love reading the hero, the villain's journey. I got a bunch of comics now on my shelf. I got back into it, not too long ago, maybe within the last year, and I fell head over heels for comic books all over again, and I think I love and appreciate them even more. So after playing and finally finishing the Legendary Edition of Marvel's Midnight Suns, I'm really excited to go ahead and talk about this game. I spent a little under 45 hours total with this game, and I'm finally ready to talk about my experience with this game. So let me know in the comments down below if you have played Marvel's Midnight Suns, and let's get into the video. The story of Marvel's Midnight Suns follows the Hunter, an ancient warrior from the past. The Midnight Suns caretaker resurrects you, the Hunter, and across your journey back from the dead, you choose to walk the path of the light or darkness and put an end to the evil demon witch Lilith. Your journey begins with the aid of Marvel superheroes, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Captain Marvel, and only as the story continues are you introduced to new heroes, anti-heroes, and villains across your campaign. You live in the Abbey, a household full of supernatural oddities and home of the Midnight Suns. This is where your journey begins, by friending these Marvel characters, teaming up, getting to know their story, and coming together to stop evil worldwide. The presentation of Midnight Suns is incredible as a fan of the source material. I was so impressed with the attention to detail on each character. Fraxis' choice of voice talent, and again that attention to detail on all of these characters, had me so excited as I met some of my favorite heroes and villains across this game. Seeing Spider-Man be voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, Wolverine voiced by Steve Blum, and then having the other heroes and villains so well acted, allowing me to get invested in all of their stories. It was a pleasant surprise, and their origins are all rooted within the comic book lore, and I love that. There's just something about seeing some of these characters that I've read and seen for years, and they are talking about the comic book origins. When we meet Venom and he talks about his history and how he got the suit through Peter and the Secret Wars, it was just really cool to see something like that, and I'm very happy again to that attention to detail throughout Midnight Suns. Even down to the costumes and clothes the characters can wear, they are all themed accordingly, and the main costumes you can unlock and buy are phenomenal, adding to the style and flair on the battlefield. Even the color palettes of character costumes can lean into the history of the character, like how Spider-Man has a shader that looks like Superior Spider-Man, or Wolverine where he has a blue and yellow variant to his X-Force costume, or the classic shader for Robbie Reyes' Ghost Rider that makes makes him look like his original comic debut. These are all so fun to bump into and discover, and they only add to my love for this game. The graphics were fine to me. It's not the best looking game out there, but once you get accustomed to the look, everything works. There's a nice blend of Saturday morning cartoons and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sometimes I felt like the performances were trying to mimic the MCU at times, especially with Iron Man's voiceover, as it felt like they were really trying to go for an RDJ sound-alike, but overall the graphics, performances, and story mix well to keep the player invested. Let's talk about the part of the game that will be the most divisive. When Midnight Suns was first introduced and XCOM devs were making it, I expected this game to play similarly in style. However, Midnight Suns changed up the formula and is turn-based, tactical, card-based combat game, and I love it. The combat capabilities and team building to fulfill powerhouse or well-strategized teams feels incredible. There was a slight learning curve while trying to understand the cards and how to maximize your turns and opportunity to act each turn, but trust me, if you take your time and think about your plan of attack, some of these missions can be so rewarding that you're ready to jump right into the next. I've had some incredible teams I didn't think would work, but once you get some and find new ones and you try to build bigger and better card builds for your heroes and teams, this game has an entire forge that you can help craft and build new research tools, hero abilities, costumes, and more. An excellent gameplay feature in this game is the Super Link, a social media for superheroes in the Abbey. With the Super Link, you can message and see posts from your fellow super friends and build a bond with every one of them. There's a cool Persona-like gameplay mechanic where you can hang out and grow friendships with everyone in the Abbey. You can hang out at the pool, play video games, explore the Abbey with friends, and get to know one another. Once you have a max friendship, you can complete the Midnight Suns Challenge, which grants heroes an incredible ability card and a video game exclusive suit called the Midnight Suns. Each character has a fantastic designed black and gold finished suit. From the moment you start to explore and get to know some of the members of the Abbey, I wanted to hang out with everyone more and more when I had the chance. Marvel's Midnight Suns was a game I was waiting for a price drop on. I had far too much to do and play at its release. Still, with me waiting and getting the Legendary Edition, I could enjoy that entire experience of Midnight Suns with its 4 DLC packs: Deadpool, Venom, Morbius, and Storm. Each character follows a linear story through the DLC in chapters, each being a character DLC. This was the first time in a while that I found my time with downloadable content a lot of fun. Most of the time, I'm disinterested in DLC, but for Midnight Suns, I could not pass up on the offer to have this batch of characters in my team on Midnight Suns. These characters also aren't just thrown in at the end of the game and you can play their story. If you do what I did and play the DLC in tandem to the main quest, you can really get a lot out of this DLC. The characters will give you insight, you can talk to them, just like any of the other heroes, but they actually add to the story and they may become some of your favorite teammates across the entire game. So in conclusion, I am so happy with Midnight Suns. The game feels like an extension of Activision's Ultimate Alliance video games and has me reminiscing about when I first got introduced to those games way back in the day. I can easily see a younger Marvel fan playing this and being introduced to some newer faces like Robbie Reyes as the current Ghost Rider, or being introduced to some more obscure X-Men like Magic. It's so good to see this game's diverse cast of characters, from the heroes you play to the villains you come across like Venom, Sabretooth, and Crossbones. The attention to detail is there, and you can feel the history of every character in this game. Midnight Suns' most significant problem is subjective, which lies within the gameplay. If you stick around and let the game play out and you learn the card mechanics and how the game can become rewarding, I love the turn-based nature of this game, and with each card you draw, with every hero, there's an excellent opportunity to make a great turn, and with that, it becomes satisfying. Each card a hero has references their traits and what you expect a Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain America, and Ghost Rider would have. There is so much attention to detail, and once you get how the characters act, using them with other heroes builds an epic team as a Marvel fan and a comic book fan in general, I think you will love this game. Midnight Suns was such a delight of an experience, and before starting this game, I decided to get back into comics. I was so enthralled with this experience, and this game felt amplified because of my return to an old pastime I had. Seeing Robbie Reyes in a video game and remembering when I was reading when he debuted was something else. Again, I keep saying it, but the attention to detail. I can't say enough about Midnight Suns, but I can say and must say, please do not let the card gameplay put you off if you are interested in this game. There's so much to enjoy here, and if you enjoy Marvel superheroes and want to give a great game a shot, Midnight Suns is that game. That's it for this episode today. I really hope you enjoyed it. Marvel's Midnight Suns is a really incredible game, and I feel like every year I come across a game that I truly fall in love with. Whether it's a game that releases that year or it's an old game that just flew under my radar. Last year was Monster Hunter Rise. This year, I feel like Splatoon 3 and Midnight Suns are taking that title for just incredible games that I'm fully loving and enjoying and living in, and I'm having an absolute blast with. And again, with me getting back into comic books, Midnight Suns really does hit different. It reminds me how much I do love some of my favorite fictional characters. Seeing Spider-Man, Venom, Deadpool, Wolverine, and then getting also to see some classic characters that I personally really began to love over the years, like Robbie Reyes and even Morbius, who, I really liked back in the day when I was first introduced to him. It's really cool to see stuff like this, and it feels like a celebration. And like I said in the video, it really reminds me of Activision's Marvel's Ultimate Alliance. I loved that game so much, and that was a huge inspiration for me back in the day, where I remember playing that game and being introduced to Deadpool and some of the more obscure characters at the time. And since then, I even got deeper into it. I started reading Deadpool comics. Moon Knight was in that game too, I think, and it was like all these crazy characters and even villains I wasn't too familiar with at the time. It was awesome, and I feel like this game is going to be that game for another younger audience of a Marvel fan or a comic book fan, or they may even just want to try it out because the cover looks cool. I don't know. This game was a blast, and I recommend it to everybody. Please do not let that gameplay loop or that gameplay, sway you in a certain way. Try it out. At least do yourself a favor and try it. And then once you form an opinion, go from there. But for me, Marvel's Midnight Suns is a great game, and I think even after you beat the game, the fact that you can just run missions and build teams and all this other stuff is so addicting, and you can still hang out with all these characters and build the bonds. I love that so much, and I will probably be going back to Midnight Suns. But anyway, before we keep rambling on, please let me know in the comments down below, who is your favorite Marvel character? Did you enjoy Marvel Midnight Suns? Were you interested in this game? Please let me know in the comments down below. As always, my name is Brandon, and I will see you all next time.